For so many nonprofits, financial management, it can feel like this huge, necessary burden, right? But what if we told you it could actually be your most powerful strategic tool? That's what we're going to dig in today, how to make that shift, turning those stressful reports into a real source of strength. So let's dive in. All right, let's just get right to it with a question. Does audit season and donor reporting just fill you with stress? I mean, for a lot of nonprofits, it absolutely does. But what if we could completely flip that script? What if those exact same reports actually became the bedrock, the foundation for real donor trust and ultimately your organization's long-term survival?
Okay, so where do we even start with all this? Well, it really starts with getting a handle on why this matters so much. See, excellent financial reporting isn't just about, ticking boxes for compliance. It is all about building confidence.
When you boil it all down, it really comes to this one thing. The number one, absolute biggest benefit of being transparent with your finances is donor confidence. Full stop. Think about it. When a donor can clearly see exactly how their money is making an impact, that builds some serious trust. And that confidence, that's what secures future support. That's what ensures your mission can continue for the long haul.
Here's a great way to think about it. Your financial reports, they are not just boring spreadsheets full of numbers. They're a story. They're telling the story of your organization's work, right? The challenges, the wins. But it's told in the one language your funders care about most, the language of accountability and impact.
All right, so to build that confidence, you've got to get over two pretty big hurdles: audits and compliance. Now, I know they can seem totally overwhelming, but trust me, they get a whole lot easier to handle once you break them down. First things first, let's be super clear about what you're actually dealing with. You've got a statutory audit, which looks at your entire organization, top to bottom. Then you have a donor audit, and that one is way more specific. It's all about a single grant agreement and only focuses on the money for that one project. Just knowing the difference between these two, that is the absolute critical first step to getting prepared. Okay, so how do you actually get prepared? This is really all about making a shift away from that reactive, last-minute panic to a proactive, confident game plan. And here's that playbook. It's a pretty straightforward four-step process. Step one is all about understanding the requirements. I mean, really understanding them. Read that grant agreement, cover to cover, and actually talk to the donor. Once you know what's needed, you gather all your supporting documents, and this is key, you communicate those needs across your whole team, so everybody is on the same page. And only then do you go find an auditor who actually gets the nonprofit world. And listen, when we say supporting documents, you've got to realize this goes way beyond just the finance team. Auditors are going to ask for things like employment contracts, pay slips, timesheets, which means your HR and payroll folks are every bit as critical to a smooth audit as your finance people are. Everybody has to be in the loop. And believe me, the stakes here are very, very real. This isn't just some theory. A tiny little delay, like not being able to find a single employment contract, can have this huge ripple effect. It causes delays in the audit, which leads to the costs going up, and boom, all of a sudden you're hit with unexpected bills. Being prepared literally saves you time and money. Okay, so after audits, we've got that second big hurdle, compliance. Yeah, the list of all the things you need to do can feel totally endless, but the strategy for getting it under control is actually surprisingly simple. So what's the number one reason organizations stumble when it comes to compliance? It's usually not because they don't know what to do. It's because they miss the deadlines. A filing date just slips by, and bam, you're hit with penalties and interest charges that start eating into the funds that should be going to your mission. The fix for this is to build a really simple two-part system. First part, to stop forgetting deadlines, you need some kind of tracking tool to keep an eye on every single key date. And the second part, to make sure your data is actually ready when you need it, you've got to streamline your accounting process. So one part handles the when and the other handles the what. Simple as that. So, all of these strategies we've been talking about, audit prep, compliance, they all kind of depend on one thing: having the right tools. And that's where technology comes in. It's really the glue that holds all of this together. Okay, so a really key concept here is something called project tracking. Basically, modern accounting software lets you set up these little buckets or categories for each donor or each project. What that means is every single time money comes in or goes out, you assign it to a specific funding stream. This isn't just a nice-to-have feature, folks. It is absolutely essential if you want to do accurate donor reporting.
And honestly, the difference this tech makes is It's like night and day. The old way, you were waiting around for monthly paper statements to show up, which meant your records were always weeks or even a month behind. But the new way, it uses automated bank feeds. That gives you a real-time, up-to-the-minute view of your finances. You're not looking in the rearview mirror anymore, you're actually managing what's happening right now.
So, when you're looking for an accounting system, these are the things you absolutely have to have. They're non-negotiable. First, you need those project and donor tracking categories we just mentioned. Next, you need tools that let you plug in a donor's budget and then track your spending against it, like in real time. And finally, you 100% need those automated bank feeds to make sure your data is always current. And so, you see, it all comes back to that idea of storytelling. When you have the right strategies and the right tools in place, your financial data stops being the source of stress and it starts becoming your most powerful, most compelling story. So the question I want to leave you with is this. If you look at your books right now, what story is your financial data really telling your donors?